Oh, righto. Righto. Now, a bit of a catch up. How's it all going and different things. And a bit weird this, sitting in front of the camera, like interrogation. But anyway, I had cancer. Got cancer in my jaw. Lymphoma, radio, big long name. And so let me gather my thoughts a bit, because this is pretty hard, all this sort of stuff. It is, because when it come down to it, it grew, it was in here. Now, not knowing it was actually 2 lumps, and it was out here, You've seen some of the other footages, and come down to be, it blew up like a balloon, like it was having a football inside my head. In the ligaments, the nerves, everything in that. And I thought it was teeth. So I got 2 teeth up in this area here, at the back of your jawline. 2 teeth that got taken out. So they was pretty rooted pretty much. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. This is just coming off the truth. I'm just going to remember, look there. There, Dazz. There we go. We'll go this side. Anyway, I got them taken out. I drove down, so they said it was an infection. Alright, because it was going up and down for a while, and all of a sudden it got daylight saving and just went woof. And me personally thinking this could be cancer. And they're going, no, it's an infection. I'm like, alright, an infection. So I treated about 3 weeks, and I was working at the time, and it just went, poof, it just blew up. Me and little Dazz was up Brady's Lake, and it was daylight savings weekend, so we went up, caught a fish, and had a good time, camping away. And yeah, it blew up that night. Daylight savings saw it click over and blew up, and it just, it was bad. And I don't know, honestly, because we did a bit of detour around as well. I don't know how I actually drove home. Like, it was a fair bit of how'd you call it? Fair bit of trouble. When I got home, I said to the wife, I said, I need to go to the doctors. This ain't good. So I went to the after hours clinic, and he done a few tests and felt, and like he said, Dazz, I think, you know, I got a rough idea, but he couldn't say it was cancer or not. And anyway, he booked me in for a few tests in Launceston. And as it was, that was quick. In, ear, nose and throat people checked me over. I said, Dazz, we've got to put you in. And I was like, oh fuck, I don't want to go in. I hate hospital because Mum passed away at my own, and Pop was told to go watch the world go by. And I was like, fuck, here we go. Alright, here we go. Anyway, went in. They treated me for an infection. Done a biopsy. That was a weird feeling doing the biopsy. Went like that, and when they did it, we was like, ugh. But I knew it had to be done. And it didn't hurt. It didn't hurt one little bit. I was just in that much pain through the jaw, and I was pumping antibiotics in me, and I wouldn't do a thing. Didn't do a thing. Anyway, I got sent home. I lay on the couch and I thought I was going to die. And the ear, nose and throat doctor, his second in charge, rang me and said, Dazz, Daryl, you have cancer. So what I suggested, prepare for the worst and get your affairs in order, you're going to die. I was like, fuck me. And yeah, it actually wrecked me. Like, little Dazz knew what was going on. That's one thing I never did. Never did sugarcoat nothing. Told her what was happening, so she was always switched on. Just in case it was somewhere and I went down in a heap, she knew what to tell the ambos that come and got me. Anyway, he said, yep, no, he's going to die. And I was like, fuck, here we go. I broke down and that, and I was a mess. And I missed my sister-in-law's wedding. I was on the couch. I dropped 13 kilos in a week. I struggled to drink a little bit of water. Couldn't even move my jaw. Anyway, Dr. Ivo from Launceston, the Holman's Clinic, Dazz, yeah, looks like you got cancer, but it's treatable and you're not going to die. And I said, well, they told me I was going to die. He said they had no right to. Anyway, he said, but you've got to come back through the emergency way, into the emergency line system to get in, otherwise it's a 3-week wait to get in. And I was like, fuck, here we go. So up there emergency, because they had to do another biopsy just to make sure it was cancer. Like, he knew what it was, Liza knew what it was, we all did, but just to make sure, you know. So I went in, sat there all day, finally got in, and yeah, the biopsy was put off, so I starved, and I was trying to eat food, and then I was trying to, oh, you can eat and drink. And I said, well, I can't, like, you know. And they had me on the fluids, on the drip and that, and yeah, went in for the biopsy, come back, yeah, Daryl was right, and I was like, shit, you know, here we go. That's going to be a fight. It's going to be a fight and a half. He said, right, now, head to home, and you got an appointment in Latrobe to see him, and then you're starting chemo the same week. Every 3 weeks, it was a round of R-chops. We had 6 weeks of that. And I was going in, and I was still working at the time, and like, I was actually in a funeral home working. Maintenance and gardener. But, and I was sort of looking like, that could be me on the table. Like, that could be me. And I was like, oh. And I struggled to work. But I tried to put in as much as I can put in. And that was the hardest thing. Like, not many people knew how bad it actually was. Like, I was fucking knackered. I'd do 4 hours and that's it. And I couldn't do more. I'd go home and sleep. Anyway, you had your, what was it called? Your R-chop. Then probably about 3 days later, didn't hit me after it. A couple of days later, it was like boom. It was like someone just smacked me. And it started to go down, and I was thinking, fuck, this is alright. It's working. It's working. And we got saying, fast forward the R-chop part. We got to the end of that. They give me a certificate and a medallion saying, congratulations, you completed chemo, rah, rah, rah. You know what? It didn't fucking work. Didn't work. I actually got there and cut that certificate up. I was that annoyed. It didn't work. And I was constantly having phone appointments with my doctor and that, and then, you better come in, Dale, see your doctor. And I was like, what's going on? And he left and went to the mainland. He went to another position over there. And I got another doctor in between. And she said, right, how's this all happening? Here we go, start again. Every time I saw her, I had to explain how it all started. And like, she's good at what she did, but she had no people skills, and she was always constantly. Now, she goes to me, Daryl, there's a trials treatment starting in Hobart. And I was like, all right, yep, would you like to do it? Or you pretty much got to go to the mainland for 8 weeks at a time. And I was like, bang, put me in for Hobart. First one tasted to do it. So I did it, and I said, what's it called? Oh, I don't know. I was like, all right. When's it starting? Oh, I don't know. And I was like, oh, fuck me, here we go. Anyway, I was fishing. I just constantly kept on fishing, trying to keep my mind away from the not dying part. It was, and it was hard. Like, it was hard. And she was constantly ringing me, how are you down, how are you down? I just didn't answer. She was ringing the wife. And depression was kicking in, and your mental side of it was just rooted. It was. And it was nearly 3-4 weeks. It was going on the 4th week, and I was like, I had an appointment with her. And I said, what's the go, you know, what's the go? Look at me face, it's coming up again. Like, this ear was starting to come out. And I was like, fuck me. And it got to the stage, it was back, nearly out where it was. And she said, right, Daryl, got a start date, they'll ring you. Right, done. And I was like, hello, from Hobart, Dr. Rosie here. Daryl, come down a certain date, and we'll get you in, and we'll push it. Right, got down there. Fucking stayed the night across from the hospital. Phone call, Daryl. Dr. Nick. He goes, where are you, man? And I was like, oh, what do you mean? I'm not due to tomorrow. And he said, oh, I thought she's coming today. Looking forward to meet you. And he goes, oh, well, have a good tea. I'll see you in the morning bright and early. And away he went. And I was like, well, this is different. I got in there. He goes, I don't fuck around. Pretty much. He looked like Doctor Who. the David Tennant one, and I was like, this is cool. And he swore like a trooper, and he was just so normal. Like, he was the first one I met. He was like, I'm going to be your doctor, you're not going to die, I'm going to kick this shit in the ass, pretty much. Anyway, away we went, met Dr. Rosie. She's either 1 or 2 in Tassie. No, either number 1 or number 2. And she's got gold, she was. And I met the trials nurse, Jeannie. And she's like, I've got all this paperwork to do. It usually takes a month, but we're going to do it in a couple of days. I'm like, yep, no worries. Boom, boom, boom. Everything was done. Just had to wait to get the appointment to start it. We just had to wait for the government to sign off, because the people in the mainland committee had to sign off, make sure it was all ready to rock and roll. So we did, and was into it. Every 3 weeks I was in there. I stayed. First one was nearly 4 days in. That's starting the chemo treatment. Now, what our chop was, this was the big boys. Big boys chemo, I called it. It was the big person's chemo. The R-chop was only a variation of to kill the cancers, not just suited for this one what I was on. And it was this big long name, and we called it Epco sandwich. So I had nurses, I had student nurses, I had nurses, and the funniest thing was there was a lot of jesters down there, and every nurse was nice. Like, every nurse invited you in, welcomed you, and it was like a big family. Like 9A, that's where I stayed. 8A is where I was going in for the weekly needles and stuff like this. And I went in and was like, Darryl, how's your veins? I said, they're fucked, pretty much. They're fucked. Because when I was in the trove, I was having needles after needles after needles, and they couldn't get the vein, they go again. Sometimes like about 8 needles in one arm, and then there was all like a pincushion trying to navigate the veins, and no one knows rooted. And he goes, well, we'll put a pick line in, and I was like, oh shit. And he goes, right, I was in bed, and they said, how? I said, how do you put the pick line in? Like, fill me in a bit, give me a bit of info about it. And he goes in here, and goes up through, down through, and fair enough. Anyway, so I go, surgery, I'm out to it. And he said, no, the bloke, gentleman come in, nice dude he was easy going. He goes, just lay there, Darryl, and I'll show you on the machine where I'm putting it. And he's putting her in, he measured it up and put her in, and done. And you know, that benefited me something chronic. That actually helped me with the chemos going in and different things. And in the end, like, that was in there for a little bit, but I needed a Hickman's. Right, there's a story to this. There's Hickman's, and there's another one for the stem cell reinfusion, like to take it out. The Hickman's, the stem cells could go through the Hickman's, but you couldn't remove the stem cells out of it. So what they did, they put the wrong one in. The Hickman's went in. I reckon it was the best thing ever going in. It was hanging out of your chest though, so you got used to it. Like, showering was hard. I used to go to my nan's to shower, because she's got the shower head which you move off the top, because she's a bit older and it's easy for her. So I was using that. That was. And yeah, that was hanging out of his chest. So once we positioned it right and worked out the best place for the band-aid to go over, and that was fine. It was loving it. And it was good. It made it easy, especially when you was giving blood after trial. Then you'd have trials, bloods, and you had blood tests. But it was hard because only certain nurses could use it. So when it come down to the PET scans and that, they had to go normal. That was alright though, because my veins were getting better by then. And yeah, I had that in the chest, and that was in there for ages. That was like, I said, I'm a bit nervous. I said, how you putting it in? He said, and I asked the doctor when he was going to the surgery to get it in. And he goes, well, just deaden it. Cover your face over so you can't see. So your face will be out here just looking out, talking to the nurse who's standing beside you, make sure he's all good and didn't feel nothing. And he was working her in and that, and yeah, it was in. Done. Easy. And yeah, so that went in, and that made a big difference. And then a lot of treatments. Pretty much, might as well just rented a house down over. That's how long I was down there. Every three weeks I was going in for my chemos, and they was 3 days of it. Then I'd come out. But you get used to it, because everybody, you knew all the nurses, you knew all the doctors, even the people coming with your tea. Food was pretty shit. Food was crap. But even when you come around for your tea, yeah, you know, the tea people, and you knew times it was hard because I don't really eat breakfast, and sometimes I don't have anything for lunch, and it's just have a tea. And you was having breakfast, morning tea, lunch, afternoon tea, then you was having tea, and you was having, if you wanted coffee and biscuits, then if anything else you wanted for yourself, which you had in your fridge. So every bed had a fridge, had TV was all free, so which was good. Got to see the same movies over and over and over. Got to see some movies I haven't seen. Watch the footy. Or at the time the Big Bash was on. I'm not much of a cricket person like I used to, so I watched that. It was, and done a lot of colouring in, done a lot of crosswords, just to keep the mind active, because you had to keep it active, because you get you down a lot. And that's what it did, a lot of colouring ins, and a lot of, like you find the words, like that. Played a few games, but it is. My wife and little Dazz was always there, she was down there with me when it was happening. And yeah, went from there. Then every other week I wasn't in overnight, I was having my needles. Now that was the fun part, because my temperature used to sit, anything over 38 you couldn't have it, and it used to sit 37.9, 37.8, a couple of times it hit 38 and it just wouldn't go down, and I didn't get my needle 1 week. I didn't. And what I know now, they could have tweaked it a little bit so I could have had it, but it is what it is. Like, it is what it is. And yeah, and I had this period of, went down, and all of a sudden I was in, I got at home, I got the sweats. I was due for the treatment that week. I got the sweats and I started shaking, and I was that groggy, and I was just cold, and I was in a heated blanket, and my face just started, and I'm thinking, fuck, here we go, something's not right here. And I had to go to emergency. Well, I didn't want to go because it was a day earlier, because I normally had I normally used to go out for lunch before we'd go in. And I didn't get that. I had to go to emergency. They put me through emergency. Emergency was quick. Did all the tests just in case I had an infection or COVID or anything like that. And yeah, I had to spend the night in emergency in this 4-bedroom, all the germs, what was possible, and I was just like, I was just got to get out of it. I had all my doctors come down, and they still couldn't get me out. Emergency wouldn't let me go until there was a bed physically empty upstairs for me. Once that was there, I was up and gone. But yeah, and what they said, the cancer reacted to the treatment, tried to fight back, and it lost. And blew my face up and sucked it all back in and killed it, and really hit it up and really killed it. Anyway, fair enough. Anyway, a few more treatments passed, and this is going on. Oh, and stem cells. Come to the part treatment, get stem cells out. And right, there's stem cell A, we can't use that in your chest, they're in your chest. And I said, what do you mean? And I said, like, why? She apparently, when they rid it up to get it put in, they put it for blood tests and using stem cells. And I got the alpha one, not the stem cell one. The stem cell one was a bit thicker and it was a bit more awkward to have. And now I got that better one. And she said, it doesn't matter. Stem cells will go back in it. Do your bloods and your chemos and all that. She said, but we just gotta take it out of your arms. Like I had to sit there, dual arms. That was. So that was 9 hours in the chair, not moving. So think of it this way. You still got to drink fluids, but 9 hours sitting there needing to take a leak. It takes a bit. So we did that. We finally got it. It was 2 days early. Everything they said was going to take, I was always early. So I give me stem cells, like 2 bags of it. I was wrapped. And they was going back in January. That was bloody fly there. Anyway, going back in January. Because I was supposed to have them in November to go back in, but it would have meant I had November, right? That was just normal treatment. Then I was going back in. Well, how do you say it? When the stem cells are going back in, you're there for a month. You had full 7 days of chemo, and then your stem cells go back in. Your body had to reset. Your neutrophils had to go to nothing, and then there had to be a certain thing before you can go home. And they said to me, Dazz, take December off, because your body's worn. Like, your body is fatigued, something chronic. And as it was, I was still trying to keep walk, active, with the dog, out fishing, doing my daily things. Because after every treatment or needles, it was about 3 days. It was 3 days before you're up and running again. By that time, you had a few days to do what you wanted, but then you'd be back to Hobart. So I said, take December off, have Christmas at home, look after yourself, keep active, anything changes, let us know. So, right, so I had Christmas at home, which was good. Which was good, because it was well deserved, I thought, to have that bit of time off and just let the body re-heal up. Anyway, January the 1st, come along. We come in. Alright, 7 days of chemo. 7 days. 7 days of hell it was. And as it was, 7th day, my hair fell out. Kept my arm hair, my eyebrows. Like, I didn't actually shave for only 3 months. I didn't. That's how well she was smooth. Leg hairs, every bit of hair wet. Like, I didn't bother me. Don't mind not having hair, it doesn't worry me. Anyway, had all that back in, my neutrophils got to 0, like they were supposed to. And I was like, beauty, now we're on the uphill. We're gone rock bottom, body's reset, I got a belly infection as it was. I was having cultures taken out of my arms, I got to the stage, I said, I can't give, because they had to take them out of the arms, the cultures, to see if there was any infections growing or whatever, while my temperature was up. And the worst thing was, I met all the nighttime doctors. A couple of times over, they all knew me, but they had to relay everything back to my doctor. And yeah, so it went from like that. And I said to him, I just can't. Oh, it hurts when you're trying to do that. She said, no, it's all right. Anyway, it was a belly infection I had. But it seemed like my temperature was high, but I wasn't sweating. I didn't feel hot. I was in a room by myself. It was a quarantine room again. But they said, Dazz, you're probably going to lose a lot of weight when all your stem cells go back in and all this sort of thing. So I was doing the right thing. I put on an extra 5 kilos. I was thinking, this is the wife, I said, if I put on 5 kilos and if I lose it, I'm still going to be at a decent sort of weight. Yep, no worries. So I was 127.9. Nearly got 129 kilos when I was in there. And I didn't lose any weight. And I was like, fuck. So I'm back down 124 at the moment. So I mean, weight hasn't dropped. They said that's good, because when you come to us, you was skinny. You was pretty haggardy looking. And that's what he said. I said, I want to lose a bit of weight. And I said, no, you're doing well. Your body's actually responding good. Anyway, so this chemo, I had a PET scan. I did. And there was a slight little grey dot. And she said, the other lump's gone. I was like, I have too. And she goes, yeah. Alright, so a slight little dot. Anyway, kept on going. So we got out 2 days earlier from the stem cells. And as it was, I went back and saw the doctor. It was, Dazz, the stem cells of the treatment have been cancelled. You're the only one went through without getting sick or in intensive care and stuff like this. So now, there was another gentleman. He was worried because he didn't listen to the nurses. It was just, I found him racially to the nurses about asking where they're from, what nationality, this sort of stuff, different skin colours and that sort of thing. And that really pissed me off. And he didn't listen. He argued with them and that, and he was getting out of treatment, he was going to the pub. Like, so I'm thinking, fuck, you know. And I was in the room with him and I didn't want it. It just, yeah, done my head in. And, yeah, when he didn't get his stem cells, I did. I walked through it like it was nothing. So I was pretty happy with that. I prevailed through that. And I come out at the end really good. And so we had treatments and all that. And it was going to a fortnightly needle. And then we come down to the last PET scan, go in. I was nervous. Now you think of it this way. It's nearly 10 months on at this time. I've been at Hobart for treatments. Going to the PET scan, know all my first name, jump in, put stuff through, get the machine, do that. Next morning, I was nervous. I was thinking, fuck, it's not going to be gone. Next morning, go in to the doctors. Daryl, you're all clear. Your body's in remission. I was like, I just didn't know what to say. I was in shock. Oh, and she said, yeah, you're going well. But before this, though, I actually got COVID as well. I had COVID, and I was pretty crook. I was. So I was lucky to survive it. I actually was, because my immune system's low. Immune system is low as low could be when your stem cells are going back and you've got no immune system. It's like you got to reset your body, it resets. And I got COVID before this last PET scan, and I was crook. I just thought I had the head cold and being low immune systems, yeah. But it actually come back a high strain of COVID, which didn't kill me. So I beat that as well. It was, and as it was, I was like, shit, beat that again. And I was lucky. And this time I'm still getting around, doing what I was doing, fishing, filming, like walking, taking photo out and different things like this, and just active as I was. And they said, Dazz, how are you? And I said, I mean, energy levels is pretty rooted. I get about half a day, and then I'm stuffed. And as it got on and on and on, and I got to the PET scan and that, and I'm feeling pretty good. Like, energy levels are pretty good. And yeah, she said I was clean. And I was like, shit. It took a bit to sink in. And then the same week, we went to Melbourne for family holiday. Just get away from it, because we haven't had much family time, like normal family time. Went over there, did that. And yeah, come back, and now early next month, I got another PET scan to go. And so what's that? That'll be, what are we now? We're in September, October. Early October, got another one. Just going for a checkup, make sure there's nothing come back. Like, I feel alright. I'm always constantly feeling there's no lumps. It's just my neck muscles are starting to grow, so you get a little bit of pain every so often, because the neck muscles are gone. Like, there was nothing. You flex it, this side poke out, and there was nothing. So now they're starting to get back, and yeah, every so often your face feels a bit out of whack. Like, you get a bit of a double chin and that, but it's alright, it's just part of it. Like, my face was like a footy out on that side. So what it was, we've got that coming up, so that'll be all clear. We'll go again. Yeah, and she said, Daz, you can go back to work. So I've been secured a job. I have. So yeah, but apart from that, like, it's hard because you know you're cancer free, and it's you see other people going through it, and you know what they're going through. Like, you know what they're going through. And I think one of the hardest things of it all, when I was sharing a room with people, I shared with one bloke, I swear he was scared of the dark, and wanted the lights on all the time, and opened the curtains up between, so he had no privacy. But I got moved out of his room because I was close contact with someone that had an infection, which was good. And another bloke, I swear, he wanted to sleep with the door shut, and it was like, friggin' tight. It was. And then I had a couple of other people. Like, it was hard because they got told they was going to die. It was, and that was hard to see their families come, but being through it with my mum and my pop and that sort of thing, I know what they was going through. Like, I knew what they was going through and what they was thinking, and it's daunting. Like, knowing that could be you as well. And yeah, that was the hardest thing. I said, can you please, I mean, I know it'd be hard, like, can you please not put anybody beside me who's going to pass on or who's getting bad news? Because it doesn't do your mental health any good. And I know it's hard, and I just sucked it up, and I was sort of trying to, yeah. It's not one of the things you want to wish on anybody, like, yeah. But as it was, cancer free, and it's like now life after cancer. Like, you have your routine checkups and immune boosters. But you do feel tired every so often. It takes a bit to get used to being cancer free again, because your body's been smashed. It's been through hell and back pretty much. To get it back to, like, slowly getting there, drop a few bit of weight as I'm going, and like, it's just one of the things. Some foods I can't eat, makes me crook. Like seafood and different things. Like, I used to love seafood, and now it's just I can't eat it. Some veggies I can't eat. It's just some things I can't drink. Give up energy drinks, got rid of them, haven't had any of them for a couple of months now. It is. And yeah, as get back to work, be good to get a wage again. Because that's the other thing which you don't realise, like, you're going through cancer, I mean, there is, everything first up was out of pocket, and all my savings are gone, or saving up to buy a house, and that all gone. And in the end, got the right person to get the social worker involved, and they got to cancer people. So you did get a little bit of pieces, and accommodation, we found good accommodation in the end, it was cheaper, we paid near nothing. And it just was a bit easier on the budget. But you got to remember, you're down Hobart, so it's not like it's a half-hour drive to Launceston, an hour drive to Launceston, Burnie or Latrobe, whatever. Like Hobart, 3 hours later. Some days it was taking nearly 5 to 6 hours to get there, because I'd be crook, and I'd have to stop every half hour just to stretch your legs and that. And then coming home, when they had the steroid tablets in you, every 10 minutes you'd be wanting to take a leak. And there's only about 4 or 5 stops on the way. And you'd be peeing on the side of the road. Yeah. So it'd take a while. So in the end was going the night before. Because you couldn't do it in a day. No way. Now we tried that, it didn't work. Just too much. It was. But yeah, yeah, takes a bit, takes it out of you. The mental, physical, everything really much. And then money, like, it was hard. Because you got to realise, my wife was working, but she was down there with me as well, so she had to take time off work. So she was losing wages. I lost a year's wage. And all that savings were gone, and it just, yeah, financial side of it, that's a burden, and you feel like shit. Like, you feel like shit. You really do, because when it comes down to it, you know, and you've got cancer and all that, and possibly you're dying, and you're trying to get better and that, but you know you're putting a financial strain on your family and bills and all this sort of stuff. Because when you're down there, you still got to eat, you still had accommodation, you still had fuel and that, but then you was losing wages when you're up here, and I had to pass my job up. So yeah, that's the other thing of it you got to realise as well. And as I said, if you haven't, you can sit there and say, I know what you mean, but if you haven't gone through it yourself, or had a loved one go through it, you sort of don't. And even if you haven't had gone through the chemo treatment yourself and this sort of thing, your loved one don't really know that side of it. And a lot of times I've done the videos and I always try to keep them honest. And honest. Sometimes I've sat down here like this and done 3 and 4 like catch-ups and different things, and I haven't liked them because I felt it wasn't, I don't know, it just wasn't what I was trying to put out there. It is, and if everybody sat down and watched it and kept up with me and that, you know, thank you, like, thanks. And if it's helped you, or got you through a little bit, or made you understand a little bit more, it is, that's good. But the other thing with the cancer and that, you lose a lot of friends. You lose a lot of friends. Now, when it come down to it, I had one mate from the start, and he's still with me. You know, he's always been there for me, and it's never... my mum passed away and his dad passed away. Not far off each other. So he knows what it's sort of like as well. That's what I mean, he's always been there from start. I said, fuck man, like we've known each other for ages, and I said, she's got cancer. He said, oh fuck Dazz. You know? He said, I'm here for you if you need anything. And he always has been. Even just, he's never treated me any different. We've always had fun, we've still done stuff together, we've caught up. Like, even just an honest talk. Not about cancer, nothing to do with cancer. He has. He's always been there. It is just from start to finish. And a few people I thought would have been, haven't even heard from. Haven't heard from. And it's fucked. So they're the honest people you don't really want in your life. Yeah, we're here for you, and you don't hear from them. So, you know, fuck 'em. That's what I reckon. That is. And a few people actually helped me out financially wise as well. It is. Out of their own pocket. It is. So, thank you for that, you know. You didn't have to, but you did. Everything really helps. Like some week you're spending $500 just on accommodation. That's before you got your cheaper accommodations, but you still got to eat, and yeah. But no, yeah, so some people don't really care about no more. And it's hard to say because I was good friends with them. But now, fuck them. Yeah, that's the honest truth. You don't need people like that in your life. You don't. So at the end of it, I've got a couple of good mates left, and that's it. Not a lot of people. A lot of people wish me the best and that, which is cool. Like, you know, a lot of people's followed me, doing an awesome job, Dazz, you know. But a couple of close mates sort of shocked me a bit. And yeah, so. But yeah, so that's how that sort of ended up. But yeah. Be interesting to see if they come around after I'm clear with, you know. Probably won't. Don't really care. So yeah, what else? Oh, doing catch me fish now kept me going. Like, that kept me going. That kept me motivated. Like, it wasn't, sometimes we had to magically do stuff as well. And people are like, oh, you're always fishing, you're always out doing something. But what you got to realise with that, was trying to film 2 and 3 days when we could. Like some weeks we couldn't film nothing. Or go anywhere or even go fishing. And that's what I was trying to film much as I could. Because it kept me active, kept me going. I wasn't sitting there just watching TV, eating food, you know, feeling self-pity, I've got cancer and that. And as it was, you'd film flat out. And you do 3-4 hours, and that's what was the end of you for the day. You was knackered. You was totally skunked. That was, and yeah. So it's not all like you think I wasn't in pain or nothing. I just kept active and did what I could do. Me and little Dazz did what we could do as it was, and we're still going. So it's kept me going, something chronic. It is, but And when it come down to it, it was like, it's hard because you was in a routine, non-stop, every Hobart, you knew what you had to do, this and that, and this and that, and this and that. It was just like a roster system. It was, but now after cancer, you sort of sit back and think, shit, cancer free, what's next? get back to living the normal life. I mean, not normal. You still got, doctor appointments and different things. And just you keep yourself on toe and keep yourself looked after and that and healthy. But it's more getting back to the daily routine. Don't let yourself ponder, there's nothing after it. You've been trying to get a job. And I've secured one, so... And I was worried, I was actually worried going into a job interview, people's going to look down on you, because I'm about 2 months clear of cancer. So, it's hard because I'm sort of thinking, well, are they going to take that against me? I haven't been 12 months free. Like, you know, it could come back. I hope it don't come back. I don't reckon it's going to come back, but you never know. Now, in the place where I'm going, I said, no, it's fine. That doesn't worry me. We would never pick on you for that. You know, life happens as it does. And that, so yeah. So I've got a medical for that job. Pass that, and we'll get a start date. But it'd be good to get the funds flowing back through, save up for a house. But yeah, she's different after cancer. I know a few people still going through it. And they're nearly at the end of it, like, it's hard, like, because you know what people are going through and how hard it is. Like, yourself, death, like, you're walking around with a death sentence. That's what it feels like. Like, don't get me wrong if you feel different, but that's what I felt like. Like, a couple of times you think, fuck, I've had enough. Like, your body's screaming in pain. Like a couple of times, me later videos I did when I was really crook, like, you don't sort of see it. Like, I was crook. Like, fuck, I was crook. It was from it. And the chemo takes it out of you as well. And, yeah, then everyday stress of life on that, and it's hard. Alright. But I'm at the end of it. So I've took a beating, and I'm still going. It is. And yeah, there's not much else left to say. Like, if it wasn't for my wife, I'd probably be dead. Because some of the, like, she was dialed in, she was, my wife, was really dialed in with it all. And how it was going to happen and getting me there. Sometimes I couldn't drive, and yeah, she got me to every appointment. Made sure every appointment worked in. And everything, and she always listened. Some things, like it, not being silly, yeah, sit there and they go rah 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 rah, and you're sitting there like, yep, and you don't got a fucking clue. You haven't got a clue. Like, sorry about that, but that's true. You haven't got a clue what they're saying, like, and. Because it's technical terms, my wife was switched on, she researched everything, studied it, and yeah, she was on. And I said, what's that mean, like? And then, but it was good though, because if I had a question, like, now if I had a question and I was in there, I could ask the nurse, I say, what's this mean, or what's that entail, or what's this, and they would explain it. So I had a lot of the female nurses. I think that's awesome. Like, they were like sisters to me. And I had male nurses. And those like brothers. And then you had your student nurses. Now, what you got to remember, a lot of how they go, be nice to the nurses and this sort of thing. I always was. Like, I was never no trouble. And if I was sitting there in pain, they said, "Are you all right?" Yeah. No, you're not. Don't lie to us. And I didn't want to trouble. And there's other people in there I thought was in more pain than me. And I didn't want to trouble them. And even the student nurses, you know, if they needed to learn. So I let myself, they said, do you mind if they give you a needle, or if they do this or that? I said, no, go for it, you know. You got to learn somehow. Like, you got to learn. It's no good saying, no, I don't want them touching me because they're not qualified, or they're not a nurse, they're only a student. That's what I mean. I was open. Like, I wasn't no trouble. As they said, I was a perfect patient. That was. Yeah. But, yeah, you couldn't be nasty towards them, because I said to them, I said, do what you want. Like, I'll do what you tell me to do. I'm not going to disagree. I'm not going to cause trouble. You know. And they respected that. Like, they thought that was good. Because some of the patients they got was pretty wild and average, and yeah. But I think they were all a bit sad when I left. But I was all happy I left because of my treatment was done and I succeeded. Well, I succeeded. It should be we all succeeded. Nurses, student nurses, tea people, and then you got to congratulate the doctors for make sure it's all running properly and knowing what they've got to do. And Jeannie, my trials nurse, it was a shame because I lost a couple of doctors. They went on to different things. Lost a couple of nurses. Jeannie wasn't there at the end, and I had a new lady. She was cool, but it just wasn't the same. Because Jeannie was at the start, but she wasn't at the finish. But she went into a higher job, what she already had put in for before I come along. So, you know, good job to her for getting it. And she was well respected for it. So, yeah. But she was actually from America. She was. So that was good. Because the amount of different people you met from different places and mainland and different places around the world who was there, yeah, it was actually quite good. Like, you learn a lot of stuff. And you could have a good lot of stories and have a joke and everything like that as well. But yeah. So what's to go? It's just that last PET scan next month. And see me doctor, Dr. Rosie. Gives good neck massages. I just love going over because she gives wicked neck massages. Like, oh. But it's yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I've been holding off doing this video. Need to pick the right time and the way to feel relaxed when I do it. Because sometimes when I do it, I felt like did a few catch ups and they felt rushed, and I never used them. That's why I haven't had one for a while. But nah, we're going well. We're going well. We're actually in good strength. Yep, I'm tired. Need to lay down. Now ain't nap time. Trust me, hospital bed you don't sleep in real well. Hospital food, ooh. Canteen food, yeah, good food. Hospital food, a bit wild. Not my cup of tea. But nah, she's onwards and upwards, as they say. Positive note. I'll leave this video and say peace out. Love you all. See you all later. Thanks for the support, whoever supported me, and these have helped you throughout your journeys, or travels, or treatments, or anything to get you through it. You know, thank you very much. It is, and I'm glad I could help. Alright, I'll leave you all later. See you all next time. And yeah, see you all later.